I've been working on my second Bible study, and the first Bible study that I worked with God on was Authentic Love, which is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, like all the online platforms. Authentic Love was meant to draw people closer to God, understanding what love really was. Not the worldly love that's grounded often in romance and infatuation and lust, but love in a godly way, in the way that he sacrificed himself for us, and how we would authentically love one another, ourselves and God, by using his authentic love as a catalyst to all that we do. I've been working on the second one, and it's really interesting because both things like came years ago. Like authentic love, I think I had gotten all of the scripture just deposited into me in like 2018 ish. And then I trialed it with my church in Tulare. Then I didn't actually put it together and actually publish it until 2023. And this one currently that I'm working on also started years ago. And it actually was in the middle of 2020. And I was a part of a ministry team called Hood Outreach, and we were going out to the homeless. We had done these things where we were spending like all night, like just sleeping over in these tent cities, and it was radical and crazy, and some people would be so afraid to do that, but we just were so empowered. We often were there for so long that we just did Bible study, Bible study, Bible study. We got a lot of Bible time in because the whole world had shut down, and in the midst of quarantine, we put ourselves in the thick of some of the biggest outreach times, because there were some people that just could not survive the isolation. And during my time out there, there was a particular word study that God was just highlighting for me. And it's so funny because, and I mentioned this in the study, that I'm reading a particular scripture, and I believe that it was in Romans, and a word just bounced up at me. What I use is the Blue Letter Bible. It'll allow you to like find the Greek or the Hebrew version of that word, and then you can find every piece of scripture that uses that specific word. And so I would go into the Bible and just like look for every time that word was used. And I remember somebody pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, what are you studying?" And I was like, it's so awkward, but I had to say circumcision. And it's like, I am a female and I have no kids, no boys, and it's like, that's such a weird topic for a girl. But God was teaching me something about circumcision that went beyond what we understand in the biological anatomy of our body. He wants more. He wants deeper. He wants raw, transparent, real people. The new Bible study is going to be called A Circumcised Heart. The scripture that stuck out to me was Deuteronomy 10:16, and it says, "Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no longer stubborn." I think what really struck me is that a lot of times in our life, we build walls around our hearts. We take that whole concept of guarding your heart to the extreme, and usually it's because of survival tactics or things that happen to us, trauma. And what we tend to do is we build up like prejudice and resentment and guilt, and it's just like plastering this wall together so that it builds a wall around our heart, and then we don't allow anyone to penetrate in, and often God included, because it's hard to trust. It's hard to just love. It's hard to be loved. And we built these walls. Nobody else built these walls but us. And God, the whole time, the Israelites were just doing their thing and falling short and giving God their bare minimum. And it was like he just wanted them to circumcise their heart. It wasn't so much about the rituals and the little things that they did to check the box. You know what I mean? He really highlighted that to me as I began to do this word study and find every scripture that talked about circumcision and just really dug in to what it really means for all of us today. I wanted to read part of this introduction for you. Hope that I can also include you in my excitement as I prepare a circumcised heart. My sincere prayer is that you find this study to be like a wrecking ball to the walls that guard your heart. I've heard it said that the journey from your head to your heart can be long and winding. This Bible study is built to take you on this journey that at the very least begins to travel that winding road. Establishing an understanding of God's amazing love and learning to authentically love Him in return sounds beautiful. That is, until many of us begin to face various hurdles due to the walls we've built. God asked for a circumcised heart, and we often don't even know what that means. Subconsciously, we deny Him access to our hearts. He wants in, completely in. God thought of our existence long before we were born. He had a plan. At the moment He breathed life into us, He saw perfection. But we inherited a darkness that veiled us from who we were created to be. In our human imperfections, a domino effect was born. Our ancestors fell from their God-intended identity, and we fell right along with them. Sin began to feel, look, and taste appealing. It wasn't just the choice of Adam and Eve. We don't choose sin just because of their disobedience. We make decisions all on our own, and there's always a choice. The world we live in is run by the Prince of Darkness, and the temptation to follow these tangible, appealing choices chips away at the beautiful creation God knit together. A seemingly endless cycle of a fall that began with one small piece of fruit, and we find our lives riddled with hurt people hurting people. Like Adam and Eve, we forgot our Creator, and often we still do. Every time we get hurt, a rotten seed is planted. Every trauma births itself a new layer of self-protection. The world around us created a million methods to happiness. We hop and skip from self-help seminars to meditation rituals and affirmation statements. Substances calm the nerves, help us sleep, and numb the pain. We're overworked to pay the bills and buy bigger, newer, cooler things. We work hard to seek this place of joy in which we need for nothing. All the while, whatever it is we're seeking in the moment becomes yet again not enough. And as the cycle continues, we build barriers around our hearts. Trust is a forbidden word. Loyalty is a heavy, unrealistically heavy burden. Prejudice becomes our survival tactic without even knowing it could be called a prejudice. The walls around our hearts grow thicker after every betrayal, every lie, every time someone wasn't there for us. For some of us, these barriers are like a fortress with doors and chambers hidden throughout an impossible labyrinth. Letting someone know us wholly, fully, without a filter is the running horror story of our lives. It's easier to hide behind the highlight reels we share on social media. We only let them see what we want them to see. In fact, it's more than likely just a facade. We only want them to see us from our good angles and issue-free, flawless portrayal. The highlight reels of our lives are more like dreams of happily ever after. No fat, no junk, no scars, no problems, no traumas, no need. If only we had more money or power. If only we found our one true love. If only we had more, more, more. Until the dawning of desperation brings a new light of hope. Blessed are the poor in spirit, he said. Blessed are those who mourn, he said. We may not feel blessed, but oh, it is there. The blessing has always been there. The walls must come down. It's time we circumcise our hearts. It's time we understand what it is He is asking of us. He loves us with an unrelenting, unconditional heart. More than obedience and works, He wants you to let Him into the places you won't even go alone, the places that have been buried deep. He wants to love you, heal you, strengthen you, and be the blessing you always longed for. Let's begin the journey together on this long, winding road to a circumcised heart. I'm really excited for what God is doing in me and in all the people that I encounter. Love you guys. Good night.